Hello, it's Andrew. It's Sunday, July the 15th, 2018, which is quite exciting um, because 4 days ago England got knocked out of the World Cup, losing the semi-final, and yesterday lost the but get it right in it, third place match. And I'm still wearing the England shirt. Well, I'm not wearing it all the time, but anyway. The exciting thing is World Cup finals today, so that's what I thought I'd talk about. Um, if you've seen some of these before, you know they're not scripted. I just chat for 5 minutes about whatever pops into my head, and here we go. So I've been following the World Cup finals with great excitement this year, and in many other years, right back to 1974. I would say, I mean, those of us who are interested, we all watch it on the telly. We all listen to the commentators and the pundits. We read about it on the internet, so it's probably not a great deal that I can add to what other people have said. It's been a very exciting tournament. Lots of goals, lots of exciting matches, lots of surprises, very high quality football, and England reached the semi-finals, which was probably more than most of us expected. Now, I've been an England fan for many, many, many long years. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said they were saying like, "We really disappointed we lost in the semi-final." I said, "Well, yes, but I've been going through this cycle for 45 years now, ever since England got knocked out of the World Cup qualifiers by Poland in 1973, where you go for a World Cup cycle, you get knocked out, and then you think, oh, well, the next lot of European Championships are happening, and then you get knocked out of that, and then you think it's the next World Cup cycle. So, yes, it's been great this year that we've had a little bit of hope that we might win the World Cup, but at the end of the day, we haven't this year, so the next European Championship cycle is around the corner, but I feel I am disappointed the hopes we had of reaching the final or even winning the World Cup have been dashed. But I'm very proud of what England have done, and so that's where we are. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the final today between France and Croatia, which should be a very exciting match. There's been 20. This will be the 21st World Cup final, and I'm old enough to see 12 of them. I missed the first 9 because most of them I wasn't born or I was too young. But so that's so exciting. My prediction is that France will win. I think, having seen their performance, particularly against Argentina and against Belgium, they are a very, very strong team. And Croatia, although they've got a lot of great players and are a good team, I just think that their performances in the knockout stage suggest they're underperforming slightly. So I do expect France to win. Most of all, I just hope it's a really good game, a really good end to the tournament. Now, the shirt I'm wearing, which I don't wear it all the time, I wear it. Just put it on for this video, but I wear it when I watch England games. I bought this shirt, and it's the England shirt for the 2006 finals, and I was lucky enough to get a ticket to go over to Germany to see England play there. Prior to that, I'd seen England play in France in 1998, and way back in 1990, the Italian 90 finals, when we got to the semi-final and lost to Germany on penalties. I went to the 3 England group games over in Sardinia and had a brilliant time then. So that's sort of my thoughts on where we are. Aside from being going to games and being a great armchair fan, I've also written several books about football. This one here I'm particularly proud of. It's called The World Cup and International Football, 1872 to 2016. If I can zoom in a bit on the cover. And pretty much it does what the title says. It's a history of the World Cup, but also placing it within the wider context of international football. It goes from the first ever England-Scotland match, which started international football in 1872, right through to the build-up to the Euro 2016 final. So it came out a couple of years ago. Surprise, surprise, I'm currently writing an update for the events the last couple of years, so hopefully that will be coming out before too long. Just to explain what's on the front cover, the top picture, these chaps here in black and white are the England amateur team who won the Olympic football gold medal in 1908, which makes them, prior to the World Cup started in 1930, the Olympic football was like the unofficial world championship, or semi-official, or official amateur, or it all gets a bit complicated. But anyway, they were sort of world champions. In fact, I don't know if they still do it, but a few years ago, Uruguay, you see, I got a little star on there. We've all got them. All of us have got replica shirts, and those have got the players with real shirts. You can put a star on your shirt when you win the World Cup. So Uruguay have got 2 stars because they won the World Cup twice, but they also slipped in a couple of other stars because they won the Olympic football in 1924 and 1928, and that because in those days before the World Cup it was equivalent. It was basically a world championship. They think world champions 4 times, which you got to admire their nerve in doing that, really, or their pride. So so this, just to sort of, anyway, so I'm very very proud of this book. It is, I think it's done something that I haven't seen anybody else do, really. It's like a year by year. I'm just sort of flicking through it now. It's a year by year history of well, as I said, international football. It starts with the first England-Scotland games. Then the British Championship started in 1884. And then football developed around the world. You've got, let's say, the Olympic football from 1908, the World Cup from 1930, the South American Championship started in 1960, and the European Championship in 1960. Africa and Asia started their continental championships in the 50s, CONCACAF in the 60s, and Oceania in the 70s. So basically for each year, so there's a lot of talk about major international tournaments, and then people talk about this, but they don't actually define it. So what the book covers in detail is the 3 global tournaments run by FIFA: the World Cup, Federations Cup, and Olympic football, and the 6 continental championships run by the 6 confederations. But so basically, for each of those competitions, there's a little summary of the main results, a little summary of what happened, and then there was also, like, as I go through year by year, there's sort of other landmarks in the game covered. There's profiles of some of the top players, and then there's also, if I can show it, this is probably, I don't know if this is going to work. There's like little tables dotted around. I don't know if that's going to show up on the screen, but little tables. This one here is the World Cup table, which basically shows teams that have reached the last 4. England were proudly there with one winners, 1966 obviously, and 1 4th place, 1990, so 1 out data. We've got another 4th place in 2018. Out ahead is Brazil with winners 5 times, runners up twice, 3rd place twice, 4th place twice. Germany and Italy have both won the World Cup 4 times. Then going towards the end of the book, we've got, again, might not show greatly, there's like an A to Z there of all the countries that are currently playing international football. It tells you which continental confederation they're part of, how many times they've reached the World Cup finals. There's also notes about countries that have changed their name, or there's been some sort of geographic change, like, for example, the 2 halves of Germany uniting, Yugoslavia and the Soviet Union splitting into separate states, etc. There's a little piece here that looks forward to the future, or what was the future then. So the future, let's say this, it's called The Future 2017 to 2030. So it's basically lists the major tournaments that are coming up over the next few years. Obviously, some of those have now happened. So next year, those of us who are aficionados of international football, although we haven't got a World Cup or a European Championship to look forward to, well, we've obviously got the European Championship qualifiers. There's also the European Nations League, which is rather. I've tried to explain to people about the European Nations League and how it works. It's hideously complicated, but it will be interesting. So we've got next year there's the finals of the African Cup of Nations, January and February in Cameroon. The Asian Cup in the United Arab Emirates, and the Copa America, which is being staged in Brazil. And in 2 years' time, we've got the European Championship Finals, which is quite interesting next time because it's been staged in 12 cities throughout Europe. Several of the games are at Wembley. There's also games at Hampden and in Dublin. Both the semi-finals and the final will be at Wembley, so it could be another football's coming home moment, hopefully for us. For the moment, looking forward to today's match, France-Croatia in the final. And then it will soon be September and we'll be off on the European Nations Cup, and England will be playing this autumn matches against. There's not been much mention of this recently, but we'll be playing Spain and Croatia, so that's one to think about. So this has probably lasted a bit longer than I expected, but hopefully it's been of some interest to people. And there we go. So that's my I think I've shared a bit of my enthusiasm for the World Cup and how it fits into the wider picture of international football. So thank you for watching, and well, hope you enjoy the football ahead of us. Thank you. Goodbye.